Auburn Blitz is now on the air. Your daily look into what's happening in Auburn athletics. With your host, Andy Graham, Brett Pritchard, Randy Lee, War Eagle.
Yeah, good as advertised. We played Auburn 80 minutes this season, so veteran team, older team, returners. Coach has been doing this for a long time. So yeah, just as good as advertised. A team that definitely, in my opinion, is one of the handful of teams that would be kind of a favorite to win 6 games in three weekends. Yeah, good as advertised. We played Auburn 80 minutes this season, so veteran team, older team.
There we go.
There we got it.
Welcome to the Auburn Blitz, everybody. It's JJ and Jim with you again this week. Once again, Andy under the weather. Andy, we hope you're feeling better and getting better soon. And let's take that monitor in studio down just a little bit there. There we go. All right. That was Chris Beard last night talking about a pretty dominant performance by Auburn.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd call it anything other than that. It was an unusual game, I thought, just in terms of it didn't pan out much different than I thought. Auburn won the game pretty handily. Mm-hmm. Told you yesterday I thought they would. Auburn scored a few more points than I thought they would. Ole Miss scored more points than I thought they would. Both teams around 20 points more than I thought they would. But it was, I don't know. I mean, what did you see in it? I didn't see anything that really surprised me in that game.
Yeah, well, I mean, I saw what we thought was coming, that there was a mismatch inside, and Auburn could go inside anytime they wanted, really, and get that score. And what we talked about in the show yesterday and previous shows, Auburn had their best three-pointing shooting performance the last time they played Ole Miss, and they did that one better this time. So there's some obvious deficiencies there, with Ole Miss and the matchup with Auburn. They just cannot stay on the floor with them.
There's a telltale sign when you have a night where your three-point shooting is really high, right? That telltale sign is usually assists. Because what happens with those open threes is there's an extra pass that somebody makes to an open man on the three-point line.
Right.
Auburn last night with 20 assists in the game as a team.
Right.
We saw that the night before with Alabama when they hit the 22 threes. Kind of a season high or close to a season high for assists. That's what happens if you're going to shoot the three well. It's not because your guys were hot. It's because you were spaced out and you were spaced out properly and made that extra pass to the open man instead of taking the difficult guarded three, right?
Right.
And so you saw that last night, 11 to 21 from the three-point line for Auburn, 52%, 60% from the floor, 20 assists, 30 rebounds to Ole Miss's 17. 8 blocks for Auburn to only 3 for Ole Miss. I think that's a big one you can look at there as well. So.
This is one I saw last night, too, looking around trying to do some statistics for today. Did you know Ole Miss, their entire season, they've allowed 4 times over 80 points in a game, and 2 of those were in overtimes. So that was 1 game in overtime to BYU, which is a playoff team, or a March Madness team. And then they went in overtime to Mississippi State, which was the BYU game was 84 points in overtime, and Mississippi State was only 81. Until last night, or until Auburn, they have not allowed anybody else outside the 70s. That's including when they went to Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama and gave them 64. Mm-hmm. And Auburn has beat them both times, one time in the 90s and another time in the hundreds. I mean, that speaks volumes.
Yeah, it tells me you got a mismatch, like you said. Yeah. Right? You got a mismatch. The other thing I thought was interesting this morning, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the betting odds for National Player of the Year that have favored Cooper Flagg fairly heavily for weeks now. Starting to turn a little bit. Starting to edge towards Janai Broome a bit.
I thought they were always on his side.
And I think when he missed that time.
Yeah.
And then coming back from that, I think the kind of the betting public said, well, he's going to miss some time, so the odds sort of leaned into Cooper Flagg's favor. You're starting to see it turn now. It was a Player of the Year type performance last night. Broome plays 31 minutes, gets 24 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 7 for 12 from the floor, 10 for 12 from the free throw line with 2 blocks, and only 1 turnover and 1 personal foul. That's a player of the year type stat line.
Well, so, and I guess it would come down to determine of the people that are doing that voting, how are you perceiving that award? Are you looking at it as an MVP, like Flag or Broom would be the best player on the floor, and if you took them off, that team's going to have a significant loss? Is that kind of how you see that?
No, I don't, because that's not.
And that's what I'm saying. Everybody's going to have a vote to different things, right?
If there's an MVP award, then there's an MVP award.
Right.
This is National Player of the Year. This is the player who played the best basketball of the year through the whole year.
Right.
And I think that's what you have to look at it. And I think just if you only did it in terms of the competition they're doing it against, Janai Broom is doing what he's doing in the toughest conference in the country, one of the toughest in recent memory, and some people think maybe the toughest of all time.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So
I agree.
There's a lot of big arguments to be made for Janai Broom. And as long as he keeps doing what he's doing the last week, like I said, his game in the last 4 games, let's say, has picked up to the point that it's getting ridiculous now, right?
I'll give you this statistic that I was trying to look up, and I was just able to figure it out. In comparison to Flag and Broom, Flag, out of their 30 games they've played this year so far, has had 14 of those that he was the leading scorer for Duke.
Okay.
Broom has had 21 that he was the leading scorer in the best conference.
And that
in the
includes
country.
he missed a week.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, I mean, I think the race is not as close as people think it is.
Well,
great. Flag is a great talent. He is going to the NBA. He's probably going to be in the top 5 pick. Might even be the first pick overall. But I just don't think if you have a National Player of the Year, Broom's doing too much.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to watch. And I personally think Janai Broom's going to win it for those reasons we just discussed.
Right.
I also think, Duke carries some weight with their name, which is going to get Cooper Flag some votes that may otherwise he not have if he were playing at, I don't know, Michigan State, or somewhere like that. So we'll see how that goes down. And again, the betting odds are only a reflection of how the public is betting at the time, right? That's all it means.
Right. So
if you see that number starting to move, it means that the people who are laying down bets on this are starting to move towards Janai Broom.
Sure.
And as money moves there, the odds turn. So, we'll see how that goes. But all in all, it's kind of what we talked about, with the exception of Florida this week, who really made a hell of a run to get back in a game they were down by 26.
Right.
But with the exception of Florida this week, sort of those top 10 teams, those top, teams, kind of putting on a clinic, right? Tennessee does what they do. I mean, it's a 6-point win, but it's a defensive win, and it's what they do. Alabama hits a bunch of threes. It's kind of what they do. Auburn goes, whale on defense, and it's kind of what they do. You're starting to see now these teams that are sort of.
I think the gap is what you're trying to describe. The gap between the top is wider than we thought it was.
It's getting wider.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think you're starting to see it, because and I think there's a lot of times when people talk about peaking at tournament time, coaches will play with their rotation all year long. This guy's coming off the bench for the next few games, or we're using this group of guards, with this group of big men, and vice versa. Once you get to tournament time, you better have a pretty good idea of who your rotation is, what your rotation is. Who's playing what minutes and in what spots. And I think you're starting to see that now develop. By the way, there's other games we got to talk about from last night too, and just some great ones. But again, Auburn 106-76, 30-point win over Ole Miss. I don't know that this hurts Ole Miss that much. I think it's a game on the road. Who cares if it's by 30 or by 10, right? It's a loss on the road. Ole Miss is solidly in the tournament. Right now they're just playing for seeding.
Well, yeah, I mean, and some of the notable things, just like their Ole Miss coach, brought us in to the show talking about, is the numbers. I mean, even though they put up 76, they still shot 47% from the floor last night and 35, almost 36% from three-point range. If you shoot 47% from the floor, you usually win most of those games, or at least in them. You're not 30 off. That's what got them. Was Auburn put up 59.6 from the floor and 52 from three-point line.
Yeah.
If you're hitting 52% from three, you might as well go get on the bus because it's over.
I think if you had told Chris Beard, hey, you're going into Neville Arena, I'm going to give you 76 points.
Yeah.
Hitting 36 from three and 47 from the floor, you go, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And feel like he's going to have a pretty good shot.
He would have never in a million years bet you that he would have lost by 30 with those numbers.
No. So
that's why I think, again, what we've talked about is the gap of the good teams, the Alabamas, Missouri, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. That gap is a lot bigger than we think it is.
Yeah, I think you're starting to see that. It'll be interesting to see how the conference tournament plays out when we get to see that too.
Right.
And I think I put Tennessee in that group, even though I think Tennessee has some flaws that I just can't get past on their offense. You know what I mean? I can't quite get my mind past them on the offensive side there. But again, big win for Auburn. Now they turn their attention to Kentucky coming up on Saturday. Got to go to Rupp Arena. Kentucky. Another injury last night. We'll see how that affects them come Saturday.
Yeah, I heard it was their starting point guard.
It was. And,
wrist injury.
And then, had another player that fouled out fairly early in the game, or at least with plenty of time left. But, man, Oweh went complete beast mode. We'll talk about that on the other side, too. It's the Auburn Blitz here on a Thursday. Stay with us.
Student section after that block and the third turnover for Ole Miss. They go inside to him. A little handoff, and that's the flush, Cheney Johnson. This is a team that Bruce Pearl consistently goes 8-9 deep on. Pettiford, he had his hands up celebrating the three. Usually they show zone and go to man in the middle of possession. That's what they've done. Now Broom back in, he sets a high screen. Baker Mazzara into the paint.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Looking to transform your outdoor space? Look no further than Bama Sheds. As a family-owned and operated business, we understand your needs. That's why we offer no credit check, rent-to-own options. Enjoy free delivery and setup within 35 miles of our 4 convenient locations. Whether you need a shed, pole barn, garage, or carport, we've got you covered. Visit our website at BamaSheds.com or call 256-268-8484. Bama Sheds, where quality meets affordability and your outdoor dreams become reality.
Presley Appliance and Furniture, located on Cherokee Road in Alexander City, is locally owned and operated with over 35 years of experience in the appliance and furniture business. Specializing in Amana, Whirlpool, KitchenAid, and Ashley Furniture, Presley Appliance services what they sell and will make sure you receive top-notch customer service. Call them today at 256-329-9762 or drop by to see them on Cherokee Road in Alexander City. Presley Appliance and Furniture, where they service what they sell.
This is Kathy Holmes with Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine. Jeff Runner and I opened in East Montgomery 25 years ago and have become the premier butcher shop, wine retailer, and caterer in the River region. We are excited to invite you to our newest location at 2459 East Glen Avenue in Auburn, Opelika. We want to become your one-stop shop for the freshest cuts of meat in town, grab-and-go casseroles, gift items, and the best wine selection in the area. Think of us when catering your next event. Check us out online at steaksandwine.com for daily lunch specials and details on upcoming wine tastings and fun events.
There's only one option for top-of-the-line aftermarket upgrades on your vehicle, and that's Frontline Outfitters. We offer quality parts, lift kits, custom wheels and tires, bed covers, step bars, and toolboxes. They're installed by trained and skilled professionals, to custom powder coating with hundreds of colors and finishes, to the highest quality film for window tinting using state-of-the-art film cutting technology. Call Frontline Outfitters at 256-409-8100. Don't be in the back of the line. Put your vehicle at the front with Frontline Outfitters.
Looking for the perfect spot to unwind? Welcome to Bunkers. Our friendly staff and vibrant atmosphere make Bunkers the ultimate hangout space for all ages. With 6 state-of-the-art golf simulator stations, you can play around with friends no matter the weather. Enjoy mouth-watering food and a wide variety of handcrafted mixed drinks. With our attached parking deck, access is always hassle-free. Make your next night out unforgettable at Bunkers.
Discover great deals on Kawasaki motorcycles, watercraft, side-by-sides, and more. Save big on championship-proving KX motorcycles. Get a great deal on iconic Kawasaki jet ski personal watercraft, or take advantage of big adventure for less with savings on our rugged Terex side-by-sides. There's no better time to save on our exciting lineup of Kawasaki vehicles. Visit Adams Motorsports on the Boulevard today, or see all the Kawasaki products at adamsmotorsports.com, where your pleasure is our business.
Here we go again, hammering down high prices at Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika. New GMC Sierra 4x4 crew cabs discounted up to $14,000 off. GMC Terrain with a roomy cabin and pro safety discounted up to $7,500 off. Enjoy the new year with no payments until summertime. Choose from over 500 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way. GlennSmith.com. Get ready to smile.
Broom's got great poise and great kind of patience. It's one of those players that on film you might even kind of misguided. It's like, man, is he playing hard? Does he take plays off? And I don't think, I'm sure he does that from coach's perspective, but he plays with a poise and kind of a pace, kind of a pro pace. That makes sense because he's a pro. I think he makes timely plays too in big moments.
Some great comments there. Chris Beard talking about Janiah Broom, and I think all of his comments are absolutely spot on. Broom plays the game like a professional. You know, he doesn't take plays off. He doesn't loaf around. He, plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. Once again, Auburn with a 30-point win over Ole Miss last night. Impressive performance there. There were other games that happened last night, and there were some really good ones, but let's start with Auburn's next opponent, the Kentucky Wildcats. Mm-hmm. Coming into this game, here's Kentucky, ranked 17th in the country, starting to get healthy again for the first time in a while. Mm-hmm. And then point guard goes out with an arm injury. He's icing his arm over there on the and then lose another player to a foul out. And I am telling you, Owe last night just took over. You've never seen a player take over a game in the second half the way he did. I haven't anyway. Out of the final 23 points for Kentucky, he scored 21 of them.
Wow.
Their final 23 points in a one-point win, including the game-winning shot, in their final 23 points, he scored 21 of them.
Well, I'm glad he showed up there.
I mean, and of course, he's a transfer from Oklahoma to Kentucky. So for him, this was going back home to Norman where he played for 2 years.
Little motivation.
Yeah, and hits the game winner and all that. So that sets up now Kentucky. That's an important win for them to go on the road and get that win. Now they come back home to Rupp, and they try to put a feather in their hat with a win against the number 1 team.
Yeah, and looking down at their record too here lately, in their last 12 games, they're 6-6. So they're not as quality as they want to be going down the stretch.
They're not on fire, yeah. It'll be interesting to see. And I got to say, watching down the stretch of that game, the last 2 minutes of that game, Mark Pope drew up some really good plays coming out of the timeouts and coming out of the inbounds plays and all that. So, I got to give Kentucky a little credit on that because Oklahoma was fighting. Oklahoma is fighting for their life, and they were all set to win that one. And Owe and Kentucky take that away from them. How about Vandy on the road at A&M?
Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, that's big for their tournament.
And it really hurts A&M seeding-wise, right?
Yeah, I think they were looking at more of a 2-line. They may be a 3-line now after that.
Yeah, and depending on what happens the rest of the way, because you wind up 4 or 5 and you're in trouble.
You got Auburn coming, so if Auburn gives you another loss, it definitely could bump you on down that list.
Yeah. And the other game, we had Arkansas. They beat Texas 86-81. Great game there, goes to overtime. Calipari's kind of righted the ship, man. I mean, he's getting as much out of that team as I think he can right now.
Mm-hmm. No, there's no question, and we talked about it yesterday, that the way that he's got these kids motivated now, they think they can. That's as big as what he said in the beginning of the season. These guys have no clue how to play together. They don't know each other. He's like, we're going to go through some growing pains.
Well, he hit it on the nose. I'll give him that. So that brings now current SEC standings. Auburn, of course, number one with a 14-1 conference record. Alabama, 12-3, sitting at number 2. Florida, 11-4 at number 4. Tennessee, 10-5. Missouri, 10-5. That's your top 5. Then it goes Texas A&M, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, Arkansas. That's 11. I think those 11 teams are getting in.
Right.
The question is Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma. LSU and South Carolina are not getting in. Mm-hmm. So what happens with Georgia, Texas, and Oklahoma? And that'll probably be determined by what happens down the stretch. Texas really, they've got the same conference record as Georgia at 5-10, but they're 16-12, and really on the verge with another loss of falling out altogether.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're definitely – I think they're fighting for their life going down the stretch.
Yeah. Arkansas, Georgia, I think Oklahoma still has a chance, but I don't know. That was a bad loss last night. Might have been their last hurrah. So
well, they've got Ole Miss coming, Missouri coming, and Texas coming. That's a tough stretch for them.
Tough stretch of games.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens down that stretch. The other thing to take away from last night is Auburn's magic number for clinching at least a share of the regular season championship is now 1.
Right.
So one more win and at least a share is clinched.
Yeah, if they go to Kentucky, Rupp, and win that ball game, they're at least going to tie for it.
At least got to get a tie for it.
Yeah.
And if you're Alabama, you're rooting for Kentucky on Saturday.
And could you realistically see, though, Alabama's schedule coming is number 5 Tennessee, number 3 Florida, number 1 Auburn. They're going to drop one of those somewhere.
You would think. You would think.
Yes.
Of course, they would probably tell you, no, we're going to win all 3.
Well, and they could. I mean, they've got the kind of offense to do it, but those are just, I mean, that's brutal.
It is, and 2 of those on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's tough stuff to.
Because you're about to play 3 teams that can play defense, and Alabama don't like it when you get in their 3-point shooters' faces. Mm-hmm. They don't like it.
So Bruce Pearl last night, some of his comments, he said we played so well offensively, shot it well, shared it well. I think that's the pieces. There's just some really special pieces. Said Chad Baker got off to a phenomenal start, wasn't able to practice yesterday because of a stomach virus. He's on IVs last night and this morning. So Chad Baker-Mazara playing a little ill. Battled back and played great. Jedi was dominant on the inside. Said, I thought we just shot it and shared it. As a result, put up a pretty good number. And again, the sharing part is so important because if you're going to have a good shooting night, you got to have a good passing night. The 2 go hand in hand.
I think that one that you just brought up is a very pivotal piece, is Chad Baker-Mazara, because a lot of teams don't know what to do with him. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, he's so long and lean, and he can jump out there as a 3 and knock it down.
Forward?
Yeah. And then you got the broom problem. Then you got, I mean, Auburn's just got so many bullets in the gun. They can kill you a lot of different ways.
Well, that's the thing. If Auburn wants to go big and put all the big guys in, well, then,
Yeah, like Ole Miss. They're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, there's just a lot of different things that they can get accomplished there, no question. Once again, Saturday, Auburn at Kentucky. Arkansas at South Carolina. Huge game for Arkansas. Got to win that one. Oklahoma at Ole Miss. LSU is at Mississippi State. Alabama at Tennessee. Missouri at Vanderbilt. Georgia at Texas. And A&M is at Florida. So big Saturday for the Southeastern Conference coming up. We'll take a break, come back with more here on the Auburn Blitz.
For air that's cool and clean, call Senza Green. For air that's cool and clean, you care about the air you breathe, call Senza Green.
Turn to the experts at Sensagreen and find out how to get up to $1,000 in carrier cool cash rebates. Visit Sensagreen.com today to be worry-free when it comes to your home comfort and indoor air quality.
For air that's cool and clean, you care about the air you breathe, call Senza Green.
This is Kathy Holmes with Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine. Jeff Verner and I opened in East Montgomery 25 years ago and have become the premier butcher shop, wine retailer, and caterer in the River region. We are excited to invite you to our newest location at 2459 East Glen Avenue in Auburn, Opelika. We want to become your one-stop shop for the freshest cuts of meat in town, grab-and-go casseroles, gift items, and the best wine selection in the area. Think of us when catering your next event. Check us out online at steaksandwine.com for daily lunch specials and details on upcoming wine tastings and fun events.
Presley Appliance and Furniture, located on Cherokee Road in Alexander City, is locally owned and operated with over 35 years of experience in the appliance and furniture business. Specializing in Amana, Whirlpool, KitchenAid, and Ashley Furniture, Presley Appliance services what they sell and will make sure you receive top-notch customer service. Call them today at 256-329-9762 or drop by to see them on Cherokee Road in Alexander City. Presley Appliance and Furniture, where they service what they sell.
Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply is your headquarters for all the brands contractors know best. We're your local home improvement store with 9 convenient locations throughout Central Alabama. We have a huge selection of Weber and Traeger, Pelican coolers, Milwaukee and DeWalt tools, and other top brands. No matter the project, we have you covered with our high-quality lumber and building supplies. From do-it-yourselfers to seasoned pros, Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply has what you need to get the job done.
There's only one option for top-of-the-line aftermarket upgrades on your vehicle, and that's Frontline Outfitters. We offer quality parts, lift kits, custom wheels and tires, bed covers, step bars, and toolboxes that are installed by trained and skilled professionals, to custom powder coating with hundreds of colors and finishes, to the highest quality film for window tinting using state-of-the-art film cutting technology. Call Frontline Outfitters at 256-409-8100. Don't be in the back of the line. Put your vehicle at the front with Frontline Outfitters.
Passion, the obsession that burns within. Determination, the burning desire to make it. Drive, the motivation to be the absolute best. Skills, the tools to perform at the highest level. Excellence, the feeling of achievement. At Central Alabama Community College, you can release your passion, show your determination, display your drive, and showcase your skills to achieve excellence. Central Alabama Community College, central to you, central to your success.
Looking for the perfect spot to unwind? Welcome to Bunkers. Our friendly staff and vibrant atmosphere make Bunkers the ultimate hangout space for all ages. With 6 state-of-the-art golf simulator stations, you can play around with friends no matter the weather. Enjoy mouth-watering food and a wide variety of handcrafted mixed drinks. With our attached parking deck, access is always hassle-free. Make your next night out unforgettable at Bunkers.
J.A. Smith Construction, licensed general contractor and your trusted choice for land clearing and grading, site work, underground utilities, concrete paving, and material hauling. They also do storm drain installations, fish ponds, and slough dredging. Call Alexander at 256-896-1400 or email asmith@jasmithconstruct.com. No job is too big or too small for J.A. Smith Construction, the top choice for all of your land service needs.
Chick-fil-A is always the best option when you're on the go, but they are also great when it comes to planning your next event, from tailgating to birthday parties to weddings. Call Chick-fil-A Alexander City at 256-289-7955 for catering, or order on the Chick-fil-A app. Make sure to choose the Alexander City location and have your catering order ready to go. Nugget trays, mac and cheese trays, fruit trays, cookie trays, gallons of our famous lemonade or tea, and chilled grilled chicken sub sandwiches, and a lot more options. Make it Chick-fil-A Alexander City for your next...
Well, it's a screen assist. And you just see La Padula grabbing whatever. It's not going to get called. Cardwell out of the game. Chaney Johnson in the game, and he has the ball now. Penetrates, and another bull into the lane, and a bucket. Nice pass, and the alley-oop again. Wow. Lazara, Broom, Johnson. Play call for tonight, Broom. Again, he's a short roll passer.
Some of the highlights from last night's 30-point win over Ole Miss for the Auburn Tigers. We were just talking about seedings for the SEC tournament coming up. Top 4 get buys now. And if you look at it kind of like I'm looking at it, if you get one of those top 4, it's not doing you a heck of a lot of favors unless you're 1 or 2.
Right.
Because if you're 3 or 4, 3 or 4 is going to consist in some variety of Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, Missouri. And you know, A&M's 1 game back of that, but I think it's going to be Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, Missouri. So those 4 teams are going to be playing on that end of that bracket.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're 3 or 4, yes, you get the extra day off. You're probably going to have to play one of those teams on Friday.
Yeah,
right?
That's scary to know that's your first game.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're 1 or 2, you go to the lower half of that, and you're dealing with A&M, Ole Miss, possibly Kentucky or Mississippi State. It's a different kettle of fish. as they like to say. So as far as seeding goes in there, something to keep an eye on. Some college football news. This is rather interesting. Heather Dinich at ESPN reported yesterday that Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti and SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey both have said they want to change the seeding format for this year's college football playoff. Not waiting another year, but change it this year. Their preference to have a straight seeding format that allows the selection committee's rankings or follows it while still providing an automatic bid. And this is what I said last year. I don't have a problem with conference champions getting an automatic bid. I have a problem with them getting an automatic bye.
Right.
Because SMU didn't deserve a bye last year.
No.
They were not one of the top 4 teams. So just let the committee rank the teams, 1 through 4 get a bye. Everybody else plays out as they're seeded. And I think you'll get fewer blowouts in the early rounds than what you got last year. And I think you'll get fewer blowouts in the second round than what you got last year.
And wouldn't it seem to be a better twist to it as well, as if you're going to give a team a bye, say Alabama has gone all year and earned it to get a bye, wouldn't it be good that they get to play their first game at home too? I mean, wouldn't that reward?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the negative side of the bye.
Yeah.
Is that you don't get to play a home game.
Yeah, I just think they got punished. Everybody that got byes last year, not all of them lost, but a lot of them did.
Yeah.
And it felt like to me they got punished.
Yeah. Well, and you take a look at somebody like Tennessee last year. They have to go on the road to Ohio State because of the way that all fell.
Right.
Whereas if you did it this way, Tennessee would have been hosting a first-round game. And they deserved. Tennessee and Ohio State were too good to be putting them matched up in the first round.
Right.
That made no sense. So, I do think if they could move to that, it would make it better. And then we'll see what changes are coming after this 2-year contract is up. We talked about this, I don't remember if it was yesterday or Tuesday, but basically after 2 years, the SEC and the Big Ten don't have to get a unanimous vote from the other conferences. They can kind of structure this thing the way they want. And there's a lot of talk about the SEC and the Big Ten expanding again to absorb the Big 12 and the ACC, and basically the SEC and the Big Ten create a super league that, who knows, maybe you divide it up into 4 conferences or 6 conferences or, 6 divisions or what. An NFL-style division thing.
If you're saying that your SEC it went from 16 to 24 teams, let's say, and they're hosting like that, and you'd have to bust it up into what you said, a NFC West, NFC South, all that, busted up that way,
And you know what? That would bring back at least something that I've sort of missed since the conferences started the expansion the way they have. I miss the regionality of it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that was always kind of the charm. You had the Big Eights out there in Texas and Oklahoma, and, they had the Southeastern Conference, and then the ACC's over here on the East Coast, and, the Big Ten in the Midwest, and, all of that. So, Pac-10 out West.
I would think it would help budgeting for these departments as well, because they ain't got to travel across the country to go play a ball game.
I would think that the traveling would be a big thing in there too. And I think it also still allows you to set up the big marquee matchups, because that's the big thing that they've got to look at is what games are going to draw eyes to the television.
Well, sure, and that's what I think that's the natural progression as well. Is if we're going into a super conference, then they're obviously going to want us to play 9 to 10 ball games in conference.
That's right.
So then you can get away from this, playing St. Mary's School of the Blind. For a pickup ball game, you actually play some real ball games.
Yeah, and maybe the regular season becomes 10. Then there's a play-in into the playoff, and then a playoff, and then
because that's and there's always that outlier out there. But the guys of Notre Dame makes this muddy water because they're not sitting out there in no conference, and they're not willing to go anywhere because TV keeps giving them a big contract to sit out there and do what they're doing.
Well, and I think that there does come a time
they got to go.
What happens if the SEC and the Big Ten do this expansion somewhere in the next few years?
Yeah,
where they absorb the ACC and the Big 12.
Right.
And then they just tell Notre Dame, well, we're creating this league. You can either play for the national championship or not.
Right. I mean, you can play some of us in some non-conference games, but you won't be playing in the playoff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big decision for Notre Dame. That's one of those that they would really have to.
Because at the end of the day, this whole thing's all about money. That's
No
why
question.
the Big Ten. That's why the Big Ten and the SEC are doing it. They're pulling all this money into one pot.
I mean, we saw the story a week or two ago where SEC schools, it looks like the distribution from the SEC is going to like $54 million per school.
Per school,
this year.
right? Yeah.
I mean, that's
you
an
can only
insane amount of
imagine
money.
if we keep going, which is not sustainable the way we keep going, but if we keep going in NIL the way we are, it's almost helping make these super conferences because they can get revenue sharing then that everybody, all 24 in the SEC are going to get this much, and you can go spend it any way you want to spend it.
That's
but
right.
This is all you get.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's basically
you got
a team salary cap.
Yeah, you got employees that you basically, I can go out and pay my
Here's your
guard.
budget.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And if you want to go get somebody, you only got so much money to go get them.
Yeah, you want to pay a quarterback $20 million and get a bunch of scrubs playing everywhere else
On offensive line?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, that would be an interesting way of doing it. We'll see how the revenue sharing thing comes out. So much change. I do think it's going to settle into something over the next 5 years, but I don't think I think people keep expecting it to be kind of settled in a year or two. I think it's going to take longer than that.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be court cases, there's going to be headaches, and there's going to be congressional action, and there's,
Just like every step of the way we've had so far, like your Pavia, lawsuit for his junior college rights.
Yep.
Well, now you got somebody that did it for Division II. Now you're going to have somebody that's going to do it. Okay, my kid's only this age until he gets 20. He ain't counted as playing college football.
Called our oldest child the other day. He said, how you doing? He goes, he said, well, I've been working out. I said, working out? You hadn't worked out in years. He said, well, I know. He goes, but, I played 2 years at Itawamba Community College. He goes, and that no longer counts. He goes, so I got 2 years of eligibility. He's like, I was like, you're 36. Nobody wants you anymore.
Right.
Nobody wants you now.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. We'll come back and have more of the Auburn Blitz. Stay with us.
This is Joseph Dean with Frederick Dean Funeral Home and Crematory. I am pleased to announce that Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation is now open to serve the public at our location on the corner of 49 North and 280 West in Dadeville. Please stop by and see lifelong resident of Dadeville, Molly Kaler, who will be running the office and meeting with families who want to plan ahead and pre-need their services. We are also available by phone 256-750-0381 or online at lakemartinfuneralhome.com.
Bucks Island is your boating headquarters. Are you ready to hit the water and go boating this summer? Bucks Island has all kinds of boats, with one sure to fit exactly what you want. Fishing boats, sport boats, pontoon boats, and all with low monthly payments. Call 1-800-I'm-READY. Bucks Island Service Department experts are also here for you to keep your boat in top running condition. Call 1-800-I'm-READY. Don't be left standing on the bank this summer. Visit online at bucksisland.com and don't buy a boat till you get a Bucks quote.
Looking to transform your outdoor space? Look no further than Bama Sheds. As a family-owned and operated business, we understand your needs. That's why we offer no credit check, rent-to-own options. Enjoy free delivery and setup within 35 miles of our 4 convenient locations. Whether you need a shed, pole barn, garage, or carport, we've got you covered. Visit our website at bamasheds.com or call 256-268-8484. Bama Sheds, where quality meets affordability and your outdoor dreams become reality.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill in Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life. EnviroCare is the standard in East Central Alabama for all your pest control and termite needs. EnviroCare exclusively offers Centricon termite colony elimination system that is the industry's most effective termite control to protect your home year-round. The EnviroCare team's service is also the standard for our customers. From eliminating home pests to superior termite control, nobody cares like EnviroCare, serving Lake Martin and East Central Alabama.
Grain and Leaf, located at 6068 Highway 63 South, is Lake Martin's premier boutique-style bottle shop with a unique array of sophistication for everyone. Appropriately named for its exclusive selection of top spirits, wine, and craft beer, Grain and Leaf also has a number of fine cigars for you to choose from. They also carry the full line of Hornsby Farms assorted jellies and pottery. Open 10 to 7 Monday through Saturday and noon to 5 on Sundays, Grain and Leaf is your premier shop in the Lake Martin area. Are you ready to showcase your skills and compete with the best in Alabama? The 42nd Alabama State Games are coming to Birmingham and Jefferson County from June 13th through the 15th, and it's your chance to be part of something incredible. Athletes from across the state will compete in sports ranging from archery to wrestling. Those participating in the opening ceremony are eligible for academic scholarships ranging from $500 to $5,000. Mark your calendar. Registration opens March 1st. Visit allagames.com.
When you want quality, selection, price, superior financing, and a pain-free buying experience, look no further than Sons Automotive Group of Montgomery and Auburn. Sons of Montgomery offers the best selection of Kias, Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Ram trucks. Conveniently located on Eastern Boulevard, Sons Ford of Auburn is the region's Ford volume dealer. And when you shop at any Sons location, they will maximize all incentives and financing options for anyone's credit. Whether Kia, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram in Montgomery, or Ford in Auburn, Sons Automotive treats you like family because they are family
size as Auburn will just crush you in the lane. Auburn look up like 44 points in the paint tonight. Wow. They've got triple digits, and I think they're looking for a little more. Howard again. Right on. Whoa.
The Auburn Tigers, or there's a commercial. There we go. The Auburn Tigers, with a 30-point win last night, headed on the road at noon Saturday against the Kentucky Wildcats. I want to take a minute to thank Russell DeWitt Centers. Our show built by Russell DeWitt Center with 9 locations. J.A. Smith Construction and Excavation. You can call them at 334-531-0199. No job too big or too small. Senza Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation at 334-487-3555. And, of course, Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine with locations in Auburn and Montgomery. Whether you want to just buy the food, cook it yourself, or you want them to cook it for you, you'll get it perfect. They've got a great wine to pair with it and specials weekly. So make sure that you check them out at Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine. Saddest news I've heard in a while. I know everybody kind of has like their favorite actors here and there. Gene Hackman is on my probably top 5 list of favorite actors. Because I always just loved his intensity. He's good as a villain or as a hero, right? And Gene Hackman, 95 years old, found dead in his home in New Mexico. Was it New Mexico?
I can't remember the state.
I think it was New Mexico. But he and his wife, who was 33 years younger than him at 62, and their dog were found. The police performed a wellness check on the house, found Gene Hackman, his wife, and their dog dead in the house. There were all sorts of things hitting the internet this morning about foul play. Police say that they did not see any signs of foul play.
Santa Fe home. So that's
Santa Fe, yeah. And his daughter has come out and said from everything they can see so far, it looks like maybe a carbon monoxide leak in the house that they weren't aware of, and they simply got poisoned by the air. And,
well, and I mean, it's easy to do if you've got a leak and you don't realize it.
Yeah. Did you just go to sleep?
Correct.
Yeah.
He didn't. That's the good thing is most people that's ever had that happen to them, they didn't know that it happened. You just kind of went to sleep.
Yeah.
And it was like what you and I were talking about out of the break. You got to rule out a lot of things because if the wife's dead and the dog's dead, they didn't all commit suicide.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, there was it's a sad thing. He and his wife, I read earlier, met in 1985, as I recall. So, so they've been together a good long while, and just a sad story there. But it did bring up because Gene Hackman has been in some of the best movies of the last 50 years, right? I mean that guy's been in The French Connection, right? That guy's been in stuff like that, right? Hoosiers. And that kind of brings up.
You know, us being a sporting show and it being basketball season, to me, that's the paramount of basketball movies.
I really think that probably is the best. I'm trying to think of something else. The best basketball movie would have to be Hoosiers, I would think. And it brings you to a whole bunch of other sports movies, right? You start thinking about sports movies. And you got to break them up because there's so many great baseball movies. Baseball is a sport that lends itself to great movies, right? So whether it's, anything from Field of Dreams to Bull Durham is just one of the all-time great movies. The Natural. There's some movies that aren't on this list that Andy sent us. 8 Men Out. Andy, I don't see 8 Men Out on here. Great baseball movie. Yeah. Moneyball is a great baseball movie.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a good one. Yeah.
So there's just so many. I sort of think that we don't have as many great football movies as we should. And why is that?
I don't know. I think it's a hard sport to really get because you've already had some great ones come out early, years ago, your Rudies of the world, and it's kind of hard to duplicate that.
You can go back to the early 80s, late 70s with like North Dallas 40.
Yeah.
North Dallas 40 is a great movie.
Yeah, because, you've had some Friday Night Lights come out there.
Yeah.
You've had a lot of little spin-offs from that, some sitcoms and some other things going on. But I don't know. I think it's just hard. It probably takes a lot of production, too, to have that many people on a field, that many people, in the stands and all this equipment.
And there's really good football movies out there. You mentioned Rudy, but Remember the Titans is another one, really good football movie.
And you got a lot of them so-so ones, I call them, that the ones, and I can't think of his name now, that done one that was The Last Scout or something Scout, where they were playing.
The Last Boy Scout. Yeah. So, there's, what's what I'm thinking of now, the Oliver Stone one.
And there was a college.
With Al Pacino, the one with Al Pacino. What was
Oh, gosh, it'll come to me in a second. There's a college one out there, too, where there was one of the college guys was on steroids. And
the Program.
That's it, yeah.
The Program, that was about 1993.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't Gene Hackman in that one. No.
Then you got Hackman. Didn't Hackman do the replacements where they were all up? Yeah.
He did the replacements. So, I just don't know. I don't know that there's any of those that I would put in the category of Hoosiers.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Rudy might be the closest to it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of movies out there, football movies, but they're kind of watered down. Like, The Replacements, it was a good comedy, but it really wasn't.
Not a great film.
It doesn't, it doesn't get to the Rudy level.
Yeah.
Or what you said, the Hoosiers level.
Yeah.
Because you got a man that went through some difficulties. He came into a new program, had to fight them a little bit to get that program built up, and then all of a sudden, just like what happens in sports for me and you and every day that we watch, Hugh Freeze, everybody else you can put on the list that's had trouble in the past.
Yeah.
But if you start winning, it don't matter.
It don't matter anymore.
No.
Yeah.
And Gene proved that in that movie. Once you start winning in the Hoosiers, they didn't care that you punched a kid in high school.
Well, and you know what? They're not going to fire you anymore as long as Jimmy wants to play for you.
That's right. Yeah.
It's the Jimmies and the Joes.
So it could not be, even more with all the buildup of the motivational part of it, it could not be any more reminiscent of what we go through every day on sports. If you win, baby, they're going to look over a lot of things.
The best sport for movies, in my opinion, it's got to be boxing. Raging Bull, Rocky, Cinderella Man. You can go on down the list of great boxing movies.
There's a lot of boxing out there. Yeah.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. One final segment here on the Auburn Blitz.
J.A. Smith Construction, licensed general contractor and your trusted choice for land clearing and grading, site work, underground utilities, concrete paving, and material hauling. They also do storm drain installations, fish ponds, and slough dredging. Call Alexander at 256-896-1400 or email asmith@jasmithconstruct.com. No job is too big or too small for J.A. Smith Construction, the top choice for all of your land service needs.
For air that's cool and clean, call Sensi Green. For air that's cool and clean, care about the air you breathe, call Sensi Green.
Turn to the experts at Sensigreen and find out how to get up to $1,000 in carrier cool cash rebates. Visit Sensigreen.com today to be worry-free when it comes to your home comfort and indoor air quality.
For air that's cool and clean, care about the air you breathe, call Sensi Green.
SignSource is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit SignSourceNow.com to get started.
EnviroCare is the standard in East Central Alabama for all your pest control and termite needs. EnviroCare exclusively offers Centricon termite colony elimination system that is the industry's most effective termite control to protect your home year-round. The EnviroCare team's service is also the standard for our customers. From eliminating home pests to superior termite control, nobody cares like EnviroCare, serving Lake Martin and East Central Alabama. Folks around these parts have known for a long time that Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280, is your #1 stop for automotive service and repair. At Walls Tire, you'll always find quality service at a fair price on everything from AC, name brand tires, big or small repairs, routine maintenance, towing, and more. When your car or truck needs to run right, there's one place in the area to go, conveniently located and easy to find. Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280.
Grain and Leaf, located at 6068 Highway 63 South, is Lake Martin's premier boutique-style bottle shop with a unique array of sophistication for everyone. Appropriately named for its exclusive selection of top spirits, wine, and craft beer, Grain and Leaf also has a number of fine cigars for you to choose from. They also carry the full line of Hornsby Farms assorted jellies and pottery. Open 10 to 7 Monday through Saturday and noon to 5 on Sundays, Grain and Leaf is your premier shop in the Lake Martin area.
Passion, the obsession that burns within. Determination, the burning desire to make it. Drive, the motivation to be the absolute best. Skills, the tools to perform at the highest level. Excellence, the feeling of achievement. At Central Alabama Community College, you can release your passion, show your determination, display your drive, and showcase your skills to achieve excellence. Central Alabama Community College, central to you, central to your success.
Are you ready to showcase your skills and compete with the best in Alabama? The 42nd Alabama State Games are coming to Birmingham and Jefferson County from June 13th through the 15th, and it's your chance to be part of something incredible. Athletes from across the state will compete in sports ranging from archery to wrestling. Those participating in the opening ceremony are eligible for academic scholarships ranging from $500 to $5,000. Mark your calendar. Registration opens March 1st. Visit allagames.com.
Welcome back to the Auburn Blitz. JJ and Jim, as we were just going through, and we're not going to go through the details with you because that's something for another kind of show. But the Gene Hackman story continues to take turns on what may or may not have happened in the house there. And either way, very sad news today for those of us who have loved his work. You ever seen Mississippi Burning?
I don't really recall that one.
Watch that one. That's a good one. Yeah, that's that. I think he was nominated for an Oscar for that one.
Wow.
So anyway.
So he's had out of his 95-year run, he's made a pretty good run at it.
That's right. Yeah, he had a good one, man. He had
because you got to see he's got a pretty long life. He's got a lot of great accolades that he was good at what he did in life. So I feel good for him that he's.
He got 2 Oscars.
Yeah.
They were 40 years apart. He had one for the French Connection and one for Mississippi Burning. But yeah, just an unbelievable actor,
now,
very talented guy.
To go away from that and back to Auburn, I wanted to bring up too that last night, I don't know if everybody out there watched the ball game, but I'm sure you did, that you see where they interviewed Charles and had him on the sideline?
I heard about it. I have not seen it.
That was some of the greatest TV.
From what I hear, it was Chuck's day off and Chuck was having a time.
Yes. He went from having a big time talking about Buc-ee's and trying to get some pulled pork. He's like, man, I just hate it in Alabama sometimes. He's like, I've been trying to go to Buc-ee's. He said 15 times I've pulled up in that parking lot. And he said, it's so damn busy, I can't go in there and get nothing. He said, because as soon as I get out of the car, everybody floods me. And he says, man, a guy that wants brisket. I don't want to talk to everybody. I want brisket.
I have been to a Buc-ee's once. and it was enough.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been to several in the state of Alabama, and it is something else that, I mean, it's like a mall inside there.
It's too fancy. Here's the thing. I'm a connoisseur of gas station goods, right? Like a good greasy gas station hot dog.
Pizza.
And that's lunch right there.
Yeah.
You know, gas station coffee.
Yeah.
A big fan of that. But there's just a lot going on in there.
What led me to think about him and talk about his conversation, one of the great comments he made in that interview was, he said, guys, I don't think it's a bad thing if Auburn loses their first game in the SEC tournament. Now, what do you think of that?
I don't think it's a bad thing either.
Yeah.
I don't think it doesn't have to be a good thing either, right? And I don't think how Auburn performs in the SEC tournament will have any bearing on how they do in the other tournament.
Right.
If that, unless there's an injury, obviously.
Sure.
But I think if Auburn were to come out and there's a team, let's say they wind up playing a Missouri or somebody, right?
Right.
And Mizzou gets hot, shoots lights out, and wins the game.
Right.
That to me doesn't affect Auburn's chances of winning a national championship one iota.
That's what it's so far by the resume that Auburn's put on the floor this year. That's what it's going to take.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to have to shoot in the high 80s, low 90s plus, and Auburn's going to have one of those, like we talked about yesterday, a B-plus game to where they are not on top of their game defensive-wise.
It's going to have to be a team that is willing to get physical with Auburn in the post.
Right. Maybe because Chad Baker is such an emotional guy that wants to make a little remarks every now and then and show off. Maybe you get somebody in his grill and he does something to get thrown out of the game.
Yeah. There are things that can happen for sure, but I think in the SEC tournament, I don't know at what kind of level of intensity I expect out of Auburn. I think we'll just wait and see.
Right. Because you should have March Madness should be set and everything before they play the championship game of the SEC.
Yeah.
So it's not going to really matter if they win the tournament or not.
Unless Auburn loses 2 of their last 3 games, they're locked in as the number 1 overall seed.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Regardless of what happens in Nashville.
Right. So you think they could go out on their first game and like we talked about last couple of days, put in an 80% effort. Maybe put in some guys that don't get a lot of playing time and let them play. And if we win, we win. If we don't, we're good with that. Still
going to be the number 1 overall seed, in my opinion. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Let's get to On This Day. On this day, 1987, very historic day. The NCAA gave SMU the death penalty, canceling the 1987 season for paying players. And I just want to be clear, SMU wasn't just paying players. SMU's Board of Trustees was actively collecting the money, distributing the money, and handing the money out. The governor himself was paying players as part of the SMU board. This was not just like, because we've seen the schools get busted for, booster goes out and pays somebody $20,000 or whatever it is.
Right.
This was not that. This was on a whole other level of corruption.
And this brings up another question that's been started here in this last year and going into this fall. Is there's another team out there doing that thing. Obviously, everybody's paying in a NIL these days, but there is a team in Texas Tech that a billionaire just recently sold his company, and he's making it his mission to put Texas Tech on the map. Do you think he can do it? Just like an SMU, can he go pay enough money to get those guys on the field?
The Jimmies and Joes are going to matter.
Right.
The coaching's also going to matter.
Because now we've had a coach that's been there from Auburn. Tommy Tuberville's already been out there in Lubbock, and he said, you're in the middle of damn nowhere.
Yeah.
Can you pay a kid enough that he's going to go play at Texas Tech and feel good that he's out there?
I think if you were to put together, say, an all-star caliber team. Everybody's getting paid $1 million, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's getting paid $1 million, and we're all happy. And I don't know that you're going to have – football is still a game of chemistry, and the chemistry still has to work.
Right.
Ohio State last year was struggling with their chemistry until they got in the playoff.
Right.
Michigan just beat the brakes off of them in that game.
Right.
Because Michigan had chemistry that Ohio State didn't have.
Correct.
Once they got it together, you saw how good they could be.
Oh, sure.
But, it's not a game. You can't go out and buy 5 great players and then suddenly you're a national championship team.
Right.
In my opinion.
Right. Okay.
I guess we'll find out when the guy tries, right? Happy birthday today, Gene Sarazen, PGA golfer, had 38 tour victories, 7 majors, born on this day in 1902. Born on this day in 1919, Johnny Pesky, infielder, manager, broadcaster for the Red Sox. Born on this day in 1930, Joanne Woodward, wife of Paul Newman. Born on this day in 1932, the great Elizabeth Taylor. Born on this day in 1933, Raymond Berry, split in for the Colts, head coach of the Patriots for a while too. Howard Hessman, born on this day in 1940, that would be Dr. Johnny Fever of WKRP in Cincinnati.
Wow.
Born on this day in 1960, Johnny Van Zandt of Leonard Skinner. Born on this day in 1961, one of my favorite players from the 80s, James Worthy. And finally, born on this day in 1976, Tony Gonzalez, one of the great tight ends ever to play the game.
I loved it. He was a very good one.
He was.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for today's Auburn Blitz. Will we see you tomorrow? Who's seeing you tomorrow?
I don't know who we're seeing tomorrow.
All right, we're going to see somebody tomorrow.
It'll be a
at noon.
surprise tomorrow. How about
It'll
that?
be a surprise. That's right. You know, it's like a box of chocolates. Have yourself a great Thursday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow at noon.
It should be. Traditionally, Fridays are Brett and